Let's be brutally, unflinchingly honest for a moment. Picture the person you are in relation to the one you desire. Are you the one who is always available, always eager, perpetually poised to do anything and everything possible to win their attention? Do you drop your own plans the moment they call, bend over backwards to accommodate their whims, and practically discard your own dignity in the desperate hope that they will finally somehow recognize your worth? You have offered your time, your energy, and your validation on a silver platter, believing that your generosity and eagerness would be seen as attractive qualities. You have waited by your phone, your heart leaping at every notification, convincing yourself that today might be the day they finally choose you, the day they realize you are the one. Here is the cold, hard truth: you may have been avoiding this behavior is not coming across as attractive. It is being perceived as desperate, needy, and a constant, frantic search for approval. And in the complex dance of human attraction, no one genuinely wants to choose a partner who appears to have no control over their own emotional state, someone who looks ready to give away their entire kingdom for a single crumb of attention. Desperation does not inspire desire. It actively repels it. It is a bitter pill to swallow, but the sooner you internalize this fundamental reality, the sooner you can halt the very behaviors that are pushing them away and diminishing your own value in their eyes. The constant availability, the eagerness to please, the subtle begging for validation, it is a strategy of self-sabotage, and it is the reason you feel like an option rather than a priority. You have lost your power. In your attempt to make yourself indispensable to them, you have inadvertently made yourself background noise, someone they can and will take for granted. But this does not mean you are not worthy of being chosen. It does not mean you lack inherent value. It simply means you have been approaching the entire dynamic from a position of weakness, not strength. You have been making it far too easy for them. People do not respect value or desire what they do not have to work for. If you truly want them to choose you, the time has come to stop acting as if you need them to complete you. The time has come to stop the exhausting cycle of chasing, begging, and waiting for them to notice you. The real path to making them choose you is to demonstrate through your actions and your entire way of being that you do not need them to validate your existence. You must flip the entire script, and that is precisely where the ancient and profound wisdom of Stoicism becomes your secret weapon. This is how you reclaim your power, master yourself, and become so strong and in control of your own life that they cannot help but see your undeniable value. Imagine a new reality. You are no longer the person pleading for attention. You are the one who commands it, not through arrogance, but through a quiet, unshakable self-assurance. You are so transformed, so confident, so deeply rooted in your own worth that people are naturally drawn into your orbit. You do not chase them. They find themselves coming to you. This is not a fantasy. It is the tangible result of applying the power of Stoicism to your life. As the great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By shifting the quality of your thoughts from a place of lack and neediness to one of self-sufficiency and strength, you will learn exactly how to make them choose you without ever having to beg for it again. You are not waiting for someone else to choose you and thus assign you value. You are taking control of your own story and becoming the person who chooses. Today is the day you claim your worth. The journey begins with the foundational principle of Stoic detachment. Let me be perfectly clear: the primary reason they are treating you the way they are, the reason you are not standing out in their eyes, is because of how you have been interacting with them. You have been giving too much of yourself, showing too much of your hand, and acting as if their attention is the only prize that matters in your world. This is precisely why they are not choosing you. The more you chase, the more you signal that you are merely an option, not a priority. I understand the flawed logic you might be operating under. You think that if you just give a little more show, them a little more love, demonstrate your worth a little more forcefully, they will suddenly have an epiphany and realize how great you are. But I can assure you that is not how human psychology works. It will not happen. This is where the concept of Stoic detachment becomes your most powerful tool. This is not about becoming cold aloof or shutting off your emotions entirely. That is a common and dangerous misinterpretation. Stoic detachment is about learning to control your emotions, not eradicating them. It is about consciously letting go of the desperate, all-consuming need for their validation. When you emotionally detach yourself from their response, you immediately regain your power. People are not drawn to those who are constantly begging for attention. They respect and are irresistibly drawn to individuals who are in calm control of themselves. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus articulated this perfectly when he said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Right now, you must work to detach from this overwhelming want of being chosen by them. Stop craving their approval like a drug and start living your life as if you do not need it to survive. If you are trying to attract someone new, they will not choose you if they sense that you are constantly available, perpetually seeking their attention. Your neediness will be a red flag, and they will keep looking for someone else, someone who is not throwing themselves at their feet. The act of detaching yourself from your need for their approval immediately makes you a mystery, and mystery is a powerful catalyst for attraction. It is what gets them thinking about you, wondering why you are not chasing after them like everyone else seems to be. Now what if you are trying to attract someone who has become distant in an existing relationship? In this scenario, detachment is even more critical. They are likely distant precisely because they know you are always there. They feel no urgency, no need to close the emotional gap because you have made it far too easy and comfortable for them. The very moment you pull back your energy, the moment you stop making them the absolute center of your universe, is the moment they will start to truly notice your absence. You do not need to be aggressive or confrontational about it. You simply need to become absent in a way that sparks their curiosity. Let me offer you a metaphor. Imagine a dog frantically chasing its own tail, spinning in endless circles. It goes round and round, a whirlwind of desperate energy, but it never catches it. That is you running in circles, chasing after their attention. It is an exhausting and ultimately fruitless endeavor. And from their perspective, they are just watching you, likely feeling a mixture of pity and disinterest. But what happens if the dog suddenly stops chasing? It sits down, calm and centered. The tail, no longer pursued, now comes closer. The dog starts to wonder why it is no longer running. The dynamic is the same with people. Once you stop the frantic chase, they start to notice. You create a psychological and emotional space that invites them to make a move to close the distance you have created. I know that this is tough. Detaching feels incredibly difficult because your emotions are deeply involved. You want to be chosen, and the fear of losing them by stepping back can be paralyzing. But here is the profound truth: you are not going to lose anything of value by stepping back. You will only gain. It will feel uncomfortable at first. You will feel the powerful urge to text them, to check in on them, to do something, anything to remind them that you exist. You must resist this urge. Detaching is not about cutting them off completely. It is about stepping fully into your own space, valuing your own time, and demonstrating to them, and more importantly to yourself, that you are not dependent on their attention for your happiness. Incorporating this into your life means actively finding things that matter to you outside of them. Focus on your goals, cultivate your passions, and prioritize your own well-being. Show them that your world does not revolve around them. When they see this shift, trust me, they will start to look at you differently. You will no longer be just another option. They will begin to see you as someone who is strong, independent, and worthy of being chosen. As Marcus Aurelius stated, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This is the very essence of Stoic detachment. You cannot control how they respond or whether they choose you, but you can control how you act. And when you act with the strength born of detachment, that is when they will start to see you in a whole new and much more attractive light. Now let us talk about a critical reason why you are not being chosen, why they consistently look past you and treat you like an afterthought. It is not because you are not good enough, intelligent enough, or attractive enough. It is because you have set the bar for how they can treat you way too low. You have been consistently accepting the bare minimum from them and acting as if that is sufficient. And you know what happens when you willingly accept scraps. You get treated like a backup option, never a priority. If you want this dynamic to change, you must raise your standards. If you are constantly tolerating less than what you truly deserve, how can you possibly expect them to see your value? When you act like it is acceptable for them to give you only half of their attention, to flake on your plans at the last minute, or to disrespect you in subtle ways, you are showing them exactly how little you value yourself. Why should they choose you if you do not even appear to value your own worth? You cannot expect them to treat you like a rare gem if you are allowing yourself to be treated like a common stone. Let us be crystal clear. You set the standards for how others are allowed to treat you. If those standards are low, they will never feel the need to rise above them. But the very moment you raise that bar, the moment you stop accepting behavior that disrespects your time, your energy, and your self-respect, that is the moment when things begin to shift dramatically in your favor. If you are trying to attract someone new, and you find yourself constantly bending over backwards to make them happy, you must stop immediately. What you are showing them is that you will accept whatever meager effort they are willing to give. You are non-verbally telling them, "It's okay if you don't prioritize me. I'll still be here waiting." But once you raise your standards, once you start demanding more from them and from yourself, they will be forced to either step up or step out. And trust me, the right people, the people who are truly worthy of you, will step up. If you are trying to get someone who has become distant to choose you, raising your standards is even more crucial. Right now, they are distant because they know they do not have to do anything extra to keep you around. They know they can keep you on the sidelines and you will stick around hoping for more. Why would they possibly put in more effort if you have not shown them that they need to? Raising your standards forces them to a decision point. They must either rise to the occasion and meet your new standards or fall behind. It becomes their choice, but you must give them that choice by demonstrating that you will no longer settle for less. Here is the thing: raising your standards is not just about them. It is fundamentally about you. It is about deciding once and for all that you are worth more than half-hearted attention and mediocre effort. It is about knowing that your time, your energy, and your love are valuable commodities, and you are not going to waste them on someone who is not willing to match your effort. Raising your standards is an act of profound self-respect, and self-respect is magnetic. People are deeply and instinctively drawn to those who have a high sense of their own self-worth. Let me paint you another picture. Imagine walking into a high-end luxury store, a place that sells rare, flawless diamonds. Do you see the staff offering massive discounts? Do you see them begging for customers to come inside? Of course not. They know the worth of their product. They understand the value of what they are offering, and they know that only those who recognize that value will make the effort to acquire it. You must begin to think of yourself in the same way. You are that rare diamond. And if you are constantly putting yourself on sale, if you are consistently giving discounts on your time and energy to people who do not deserve them, you will never attract someone who truly recognizes and values your worth. It is time to stop settling for behavior that does not meet your standards. When they flake on you, do not chase after them for another chance. When they treat you like a backup plan, do not play along with their game. You are not here to convince anyone of your worth. If they do not see it, then they do not deserve you. But the only way they will ever begin to see it is if you show them through your actions that you will not settle. You must understand something important here. When you begin to raise your standards, it is going to feel uncomfortable. You might feel like you are pushing people away. You may feel like you are making it harder for them to stay in your life, and that is exactly the point. You are actively filtering out the people who do not belong there. You are making space for the ones who are ready and willing to step up. Not everyone will be able to meet your new standards, and that is perfectly okay. The ones who do those are the ones worth keeping. You are not going to lose anything of value by raising your standards. You are going to gain everything. You will gain respect both from others and for yourself. You will gain peace of mind, and you will gain people who genuinely want to be in your life, not just because it is convenient for them, but because they see your worth and are willing to meet you at your level. As Marcus Aurelius advised, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. This wisdom is not just about your own actions or words. It is about how you allow others to treat you. If their actions towards you are not right, if their effort does not match your value, then it is time to say no. Stick to your standards and do not lower them to make someone else comfortable. Now let us get into something that goes far beyond surface-level attraction, the art of building genuine emotional connections. If you want them to choose you over anyone else, it is not just about being the most physically attractive person in the room or saying all the right things. It is about connecting with them on a deeper, more profound level, making them feel something real and lasting. Because here is the undeniable truth. Physical attraction can fade, but a true emotional connection is what keeps someone hooked, what makes you irreplaceable in their mind. If you are not tapping into that emotional space, they will always feel like something is missing from your dynamic. Let us be honest for a moment. Are you actually trying to build genuine connections with people, or are you just playing a game of trying to get them to like you? Because there is a world of difference between the two. You can spend all of your energy trying to impress them, trying to be the person you think they want you to be, and still fall short. Why? Because you are not being real. You are not allowing a genuine connection to form. Your focus is on gaining their approval, not on truly getting to know them, or just as importantly, letting them get to know the real you. If you are trying to attract someone new, especially if they are someone who is used to people falling all over them, you absolutely must stand out by being authentic. People are tired of fake. They are exhausted by everyone saying the same things, doing the same things, and pretending to be someone they are not. The minute you drop the act and show them who you really are, the minute you make them feel seen and understood as an individual, you become unforgettable. I do not mean that you should spill your entire life story in the first 5 minutes of conversation. I mean that you should listen with intent, engage with genuine curiosity, and open up at the right moments, showing them that there is more to you than what is on the surface. If you are trying to win back someone who has become distant, the same rules apply. They have likely distanced themselves because something about your connection no longer feels genuine to them. Perhaps you have been too focused on keeping them interested on performing for them rather than on deepening the relationship itself. You have been playing a game of trying to win them over, but in doing so, you have stopped being real. People can sense that. And let us be real, who wants to choose someone who feels like they are constantly acting or putting on a show? Here is where the Stoic wisdom comes in. As Marcus Aurelius said, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. What does this mean in the context of building genuine emotional connections? It means being real with yourself first. Stop pretending to be someone you are not just to gain someone else's favor. Be strict with yourself about remaining authentic to your own values and character. Tolerate the fact that others may not always understand or appreciate that authenticity, but trust me, those who are meant for you, Those who can truly connect with the real you will choose you every single time. Let me paint another picture for you. Imagine you are walking through a forest and you see two trees. One is tall and majestic with vibrant green leaves. The other is smaller, perhaps with fewer leaves. The first tree looks impressive at a first glance, right? But here is the twist. The tall, impressive tree has weak, shallow roots. A strong gust of wind could easily knock it over. The smaller tree, however, has roots that run deep into the ground. It is sturdy, resilient, and unshakable. Which tree would you choose to rely on during a storm? That is the difference between surface-level attraction and a genuine emotional connection. The first looks good, but it is shallow and unreliable. The second has depth. It is solid. That is what you need to strive to be: a person with emotional depth, someone they can lean on when things get tough. So how do you actually build these genuine connections? It starts with listening, truly listening. Stop thinking about the next clever thing you're going to say or how you are going to impress them. Just listen. People are craving to be heard. When you listen to them with your full attention, you make them feel important. You make them feel understood. And when they feel understood, they begin to open up. They start to let their guard down. That is when the real connection begins to form. Next, you need to be vulnerable. I know that vulnerability sounds scary, but it is the absolute foundation of any deep and meaningful connection. It does not mean you have to share your deepest, darkest secrets right away, but it does mean letting them see the real you. Share your thoughts, your experiences, your fears, and your dreams. When you let someone into your emotional world, you give them the opportunity to connect with you on a much deeper level. And that is when the magic happens. They start to see you as someone irreplaceable because you have shown them something real, something genuine. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, what if they don't reciprocate? What if I put myself out there and they don't respond the way I want? Here is the truth. You can never control how someone else feels or reacts. But what you can control is how you show up in the relationship. If they do not respond to your genuine attempts at connection, then they are not the right person for you. But most people will respond. Most people are craving authenticity. They just do not know how to ask for it. When you give them that, you stand out. You become someone they do not want to lose. As Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. If you want to be someone who builds real, lasting connections, then start acting like it. Be the person who listens, who engages, and who shows up authentically. And if it feels difficult, if you are not used to opening up or being vulnerable, start small. Share little things about yourself. Pay attention to how they respond and build from there. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. We have talked about detaching yourself emotionally and building genuine connections. But now we are diving into something that is absolutely essential if you want them to choose you over anyone else, maintaining your independence and self-respect. This is the very bedrock of everything we have discussed. If you lose these two things, you lose the very essence of what makes you attractive, valuable, and worthy of being chosen. Let us get one thing crystal clear. Nobody wants to be with someone who has lost their own identity within the relationship. If you have built your entire world around this one person, if your happiness, your sense of worth, and your self-esteem are all completely wrapped up in how they feel about you, then you have given up your independence and you have traded your self-respect for mere crumbs of validation. It is a harsh assessment, but it is the truth. And let me tell you, they can see that. The reality is that people are drawn to individuals who have their own lives, their own passions, and their own goals. They are attracted to someone who does not need constant attention, approval, or validation to feel whole. That is what makes you stand out. When you maintain your independence, you show them that your world does not revolve around them, that you are not just sitting around waiting for their every move. And trust me, that is what makes them sit up and take notice. If you are trying to attract someone new, they are not going to choose you if they sense that you have got nothing else going on in your life. It is deeply unattractive. Think about it. Would you choose someone who drops everything the moment you give them a little bit of attention? Someone who is always available, always waiting. You are far more likely to choose someone who has their own path, their own direction. Someone who is not just existing in the shadow of your life, but who is thriving in their own world. That is what independence looks like. If you are already in a relationship and your partner has become distant, it is even more critical to maintain your independence. It is likely that at some point you started bending your life to fit around theirs, losing small pieces of yourself along the way. That is often when people start to take you for granted because they know you will always be there no matter what. But when you maintain your own life, when you do not stop your personal growth just because you are in a relationship, they begin to respect you more. They realize that if they want to keep you in their life, they need to match your energy and your growth. Let us break this down further. Independence does not mean shutting people out. It does not mean building walls around yourself and refusing to let anyone in. It means knowing that you have value beyond their opinion of you. It means continuing to work on your own goals, dreams, and passions with or without them. When you maintain your independence, you are sending a powerful message. I am whole on my own, and I am not relying on you to make me feel complete. This also ties directly into self-respect. Respect is not something you can demand from others. It is something you command by the way you carry yourself and by what you are willing to tolerate. If you do not respect yourself, why should anyone else? And self-respect starts with how you allow people to treat you. If you are constantly tolerating disrespect, if you are allowing them to treat you like an option, you are showing them that your standards are low. And when your standards are low, they will never feel the need to rise up. Think about it like this. Imagine you are at a fancy restaurant. You are paying for a premium meal, but the waiter brings you something that is half-baked, barely seasoned, and sloppily thrown onto the plate. Would you accept that? Or would you send it back and demand better because you know your money is worth more than that? Your self-respect works in exactly the same way. If you accept less than what you deserve, you are telling them that it is okay to treat you poorly. But if you have self-respect, you will not settle for anything less than what you know you are worth. And let me be clear, self-respect is not about being arrogant or demanding. It is about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything that does not align with that worth. When you respect yourself, others naturally start to respect you too. It is a fundamental law of human interaction. They will realize that if they want to be with you, they have to treat you with the same level of respect that you treat yourself with. But what if this feels difficult? What if you feel like you have already lost yourself in the relationship, or you are afraid that if you assert your independence, they will pull away? Here is the thing: you might feel like you are walking a tightrope at first, balancing between keeping them interested and staying true to yourself. But the truth is, the more you cling to them, the further they will pull away. The more you maintain your independence, the more attractive you become, because you are showing them that you are not afraid to stand alone. And people are drawn to that kind of strength. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This applies directly to how you view yourself in relationships. If you think you need someone else to complete you, you will always feel lacking. But if you understand that your value is inherent, that you are already complete, you will radiate a confidence and independence that is the kind of energy that draws people in. To incorporate this into your life, start by focusing on you. Get back in touch with your own goals, hobbies, and passions. Spend time working on things that make you feel fulfilled, things that have nothing to do with them. Set boundaries. Do not let them treat you in a way that disrespects your time or your energy. And most importantly, stop giving up pieces of yourself just to keep them around. Now let me tell you something that might seem obvious but is often overlooked. Nobody is a mind reader. If you are sitting around waiting for someone to suddenly understand what you need without you ever having to say it, you are setting yourself up for a lifetime of disappointment. You must learn to communicate. You must learn to express what you want, what you expect, and what you need if you ever want them to truly see you and choose you over others. When you do not communicate, when you hold back your needs and desires, you are only creating a breeding ground for frustration and resentment within yourself. You may think that being silent or being easygoing will make you more likable, but in reality, it only leads to your own needs being consistently neglected. People respect those who have the courage to voice what they need and who set clear boundaries for themselves. If you are trying to attract someone new, you do not need to be passive, hoping that they will somehow magically notice what you need. Be confident in expressing what you want. You do not need to be aggressive or demanding, just clear and honest. People are drawn to those who know what they want and are unafraid to say it. If you are already in a relationship and your partner seems distant, effective communication is even more critical. If you feel like you are giving more than you are receiving, you must say so. Do not let that resentment build up until it becomes a toxic and insurmountable wall between you. Being open about your needs does not push people away. It invites them to step up and meet you at your level. They cannot possibly meet your needs if they do not know what those needs are. Effective communication is a two-way street. It is not just about asserting your own needs, but also about actively listening to theirs. When both people in a relationship feel heard and respected, the connection becomes exponentially deeper, and that is what ultimately makes them choose you. Marcus Aurelius wisely advised, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Apply this wisdom to your communication. Do not waste time assuming they know what you need. Be clear, be open, and be honest. Let us get one thing straight. People are attracted to growth. If you want them to choose you over others, they need to see that you are constantly evolving, that you are not stagnant or stuck in the same place you were months or even years ago. Stagnation is boring and predictable, and it will not make anyone chase after you. Growth, on the other hand, is exciting, magnetic, and it makes you irresistible. When you showcase your growth, you become someone they do not want to miss out on. Let me be clear, this is not about throwing your achievements in their face or constantly bragging about how much better you are. That is not what real growth looks like. It is about subtly letting them see that you are always improving, always becoming a better version of yourself. You are not staying in the same emotional, mental, or even physical space. You are growing, and that makes you stand out. If you are trying to attract someone new, showing them that you are actively working on yourself is a game changer. It signals that you are someone who values progress, someone who is not afraid to put in the effort to grow. That kind of energy is contagious, and people want to be around those who inspire them to be better. It is not about being perfect. It is about the striving for constant improvement. Whether you are developing new skills, working on your mindset, or pursuing new goals, let them see it. It sends a powerful message: I'm growing, and if you want to be a part of this journey, you'll have to grow too. Now, if you are already in a relationship and things have become stagnant or distant, this is where showcasing your growth becomes even more important. Maybe they have gotten too comfortable. Maybe they are taking you for granted because they think you are just the same person you have always been. But once you start focusing on your personal growth, whether that is in your emotional maturity, career, advancement, fitness goals, or even a new hobby, they will take notice. They will see that you are not someone who is content to stay stuck, and that kind of upward momentum will make them realize they either need to level up or risk losing you. But let us be real. Growth is not always easy. It takes effort, discipline, and a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. You might struggle at times, and that is okay. The key is to keep pushing forward even when it is tough. Growth is not about the destination. It is about the process of becoming better day by day. It is not always about making giant leaps. Sometimes it is about those small, consistent steps that add up over time. And do not worry if you think they are not noticing right away. Believe me, they are. Growth does not have to be loud to be effective. People pick up on the energy of someone who is committed to bettering themselves. When they see that you are not stuck in the same old patterns, that you are focused on leveling up, it plants a seed in their mind. This person is going places. And trust me, nobody wants to miss out on someone who is constantly moving forward. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Your growth is the beginning of something new. Every step forward makes you more valuable in their eyes, but this growth is not for them. It is for you. You are showing them and yourself that you are not defined by your past or by your current circumstances. You are constantly evolving, and that is what makes you stand out from the rest. Let's face it, sometimes the biggest reason you are not being chosen is because of the simple mistakes you are making that actively push people away. It is not always about what you are lacking. It is often about what you are doing that is making you less attractive in their eyes. If you keep falling into these common traps, it does not matter how much you work on yourself. You will keep pushing them further away without even realizing it. First and foremost, desperation is a relationship killer. Constantly seeking validation, texting excessively, or trying way too hard to be noticed only screams insecurity. People are drawn to confidence and independence, not neediness. Stop chasing them, because the more you chase, the faster they will run. Second, stop over-explaining yourself. You do not need to justify every little thing you do. When you over-explain it, signals that you are unsure of yourself and overly concerned with their opinion. Instead, stand firm in your decisions and let your actions speak for themselves. Third, avoid losing yourself in the relationship. Sacrificing your independence, your goals, or your friends for them will only make you seem less attractive in the long run. They will begin to take you for granted, and you will lose the very spark that made you appealing in the first place. Lastly, stop playing games or being overly manipulative. Whether it is trying to make them jealous or acting hot and cold, people can see through this. It is not attractive. It is exhausting. Be authentic. As Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly. Your connection with them will not have a chance to grow if you are constantly pushing them away with these mistakes. You must stop pushing and learn to attract. Now that you have learned these powerful Stoic techniques, it is time to take action. Remember, you are no longer chasing, no longer settling, and no longer making the mistakes that push them away. You are stepping into your power and showing them exactly what they will lose if they do not step up.